It's Sunday morning, it's October 30th at about 7:30 a.m. and I am still parked here in the river outside of Satoon and the PSS boatyard. Some interesting news this morning though is that I found out yesterday that I must return to China immediately in order to renew my visa and renew my passport. If I don't go back and take care of this now, because of a change in Chinese visa regulations, I may not be able to renew my visa there at all. So, big change in plans. It means I'm going to be parting ways with Liz and Jamie and sailing north from here up to Krabi and back to the marina and then flying back home.
Well, I was sleeping in the garden when I saw you first. He put me deep, deep under so that he could work. And like the dawn.
It is just a few minutes until noon, and I have been motoring for the last 2 hours to get out of that river and into the main part of the bay here. Now that I'm out, I've got about 4 hours ahead of me motoring straight into the wind, but it's a very pleasant day, and I'm heading for the top, the northern tip of Taratau, where I will find a place to anchor for the night.
And like the dawn, you broke the dark, my whole earth shook. Well, I was sleeping in the garden when I saw you.
So we are motoring along at about 4 knots and about 8 miles left before we arrive at the destination. So we've got about 2 hours before I'll be looking to put the anchor down. The weather around us is pretty spectacular. It looks like there could be some thunderstorms developing. Certainly behind us where we came from over near Satoon, the sky is just bruised black. So I'm imagining they're getting a lot of rain, a lot of wind over there. Just hope that we don't get any of that while we're out here at the anchorage by ourselves tonight. I've never been to this particular anchorage before, which means that I'm going to motor in there quite slowly and sort of poke around and see if it looks like a good spot to stop, and if not, I may move up the coast a little bit. So I'm getting very close to the place where I'm planning to anchor tonight. I've got about 1 mile left, and it's a pretty tight little channel that I'm going to attempt to go into and see if I can't get the anchor down and make it safe and make it somewhere that I can spend the night. Going to be a little bit exciting. Never been here before, and that's a pretty tight space, but if I can get in there, it would be a very beautiful place to spend the night.
And like the dawn, you broke the dark, my whole earth shook. Well, I was sleeping in the garden when I saw you.
Alright, so we made it to Ko Taratau. It's now almost 4 p.m. So that was several hours of motoring today to get over here. But I found this little bay that my friend Jamie suggested I check out. I've dropped the anchor here and just going to have a celebratory glass of wine and relax a bit. Right, so it is Monday morning, it's about 7 a.m. and I had a nice peaceful night at anchor here. It rained a lot. There was just torrential downpour that lasted the entire night. It's lightened up a bit this morning, but still raining, and I am going to continue my way north back up towards Krabi. Well, it's about 8:30 now, and anchor's up and motoring for a while. I got the head sail out because there's a little bit of a wind coming out of the west, which I'm using the motor sail, doing about 5 knots, and we have about 40 miles to the point I'm trying to reach next. So we've got about 8 hours in front of us before I put the anchor down again. It's pretty rolly, a little bit uncomfortable, but lots of clouds, not too hot. So just trying to make the best of the day and have a nice ride. Holy stuff. I just caught the biggest fish I've ever caught, much less seen outside of a fish market. I mean, it's fucking huge. I'm gonna have to take care of this guy and then fillet him up, and I'm gonna have fish to eat for the next God knows how long. All right, so that was a very large, at least for me, blackfin barracuda, and he got on that lure about 5 minutes after I put him in the water. And actually this morning I already lost one lure to a fish trap in some very shallow water, and so that was the second lure I'd put out of the day. It had only been in the water for about 5 minutes when that fish hit. And after I've cleaned it, I now have these 3 big fillets in these bags plus another 3 down inside. So I'm going to be eating fish for the next couple of days at least. It's 1:30 now, and I'm still motor sailing along with making about 5 knots and with 17 miles to go. So another 3 or 4 hours and I will be at Krabi. Weather is pretty much the same, sea state's pretty much the same, just enjoying a quiet solo sail to where I'm going to anchor tonight. Well, as you can see, it's gotten pretty exciting outside. We're getting 16, 17 knot winds. We're making about 6 knots boat speed. I've got the engine running as well just so I can point towards this island. Only 4 miles left, but this day definitely started off looking like it was going to be really boring and raining, and it ended up with massive fish being caught and a pretty good sail towards the end of it here. I've got the anchor down here at Krabi in about 11 meters of water. It's raining a bit, but at least in the lee of the island, the winds and the waves have calmed down. Looks like I've got a little bit of swell coming in and hitting me on the beam, but hopefully once the current, the tide flips around, because we're at the very bottom of low tide right now, once that flips around I'll point into the swell and this won't be quite as uncomfortable tonight.